This is one that I am all for. Wear all your clothes on the plane to avoid checking a bag. I am a carry-on savant. I could carry on.
But this is saying wear all of your outfits at once.
Well, to avoid it. So, like, if you had a big jacket that would take up room in your suitcase, like, just wear the jacket. Like, you can layer up the big stuff. I mean, I literally could pack, I bet, for 12 days on a carry-on.
Okay, what about just small backpack? Could you do it?
No.
You need at least a carry-on.
I would need a carry-on. Sure.
I mean, just toiletries and clothing and a pair of shoes alone. Unless it was a quick, like I've done a day trip where it's kind of like you're in, you're out, maybe one overnight. I can do a backpack for that.
All right, fancy traveler. One day on an airplane and then back home. Yeah, most situations I would need a carry-on. But I can go far in the carry-on. Where you, George, shall I remind you, when we would travel for live events with our team, would check a bag for a overnight.
I brought my pillow from home.
Okay.
I have a distrust of. It's not a like dirt thing. It's a comfort thing. Like they just all the hotel pillows now are like pancakes that just flatten. Mm-hmm. You have to use like 4 pillows just to like have your neck.
Just to get something. Yeah.
So I just bring my own.
Do you have a memory foam pillow? Do you have like one of the?
It's not memory foam. It's like one of the Casper ones. It has a pillow within a pillow. How there is their strategy.
Okay, fair.
There you go. Next hack. Retired couple books 51 back-to-back weeks on a cruise ship.
Oh, we just talked about that. Yeah. I don't know if I can do it. I would do a all-inclusive resort over a cruise ship. How about you?
Yes, agreed.
Okay.
I just don't like being stuck on a cruise ship for a whole year straight. That's too long.
Yeah. How about Wi-Fi, George? Stealing neighbors' Wi-Fi.
Oh, gosh. How would this even work?
I think I would do that on accident. Like, I feel like my phone is set up for Wi-Fi and you just like live your life and then you look up, you're like, oh, I'm
But they're private. You have to know the password.
Not all.
Is your Wi-Fi just open?
No, because I'm married to Winston. If it was Rachel, it may be open.
God bless Winston. Oh, my goodness. So the idea here is like you pretend your Wi-Fi is down one day, you befriend the neighbor, ask them to borrow theirs so you can do your work, then you hope they never change the password. I personally would not do this. I would just pay for internet and suck it up.
Yeah.
And this is like you have to live in like pretty tight, condos, apartments where you're close enough to where the signal would still reach well.
Yeah, and we talk about the 4 walls: food, shelter, utilities, transportation. In utilities these days, I mean, I have like in my head that includes internet and includes cell phone. Like there are things.
It's become a base, like a universal.
I guess you technically don't need to like survive in the world today, but you kind of do. I mean, there is a point that like if you're working, you probably need access to internet. You know what I mean? Like those kind of things that. I would wrap that in your 4 walls. That
100%.
Like that's what your baseline.
I would never tell someone, hey, cut the internet to save some money.
No, right, exactly. Yeah,
I would tell them to reshop it, make sure you're getting the best rate for as much speed as you need, which I'm sure you know all about the internet speeds these days.
Yeah, all the 11 kg.
Yep, it's 11 kilograms is how much internet is required. I'm guessing, because I know Winston well enough, you guys got gigabit.
I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know. Just for fun. I bet he'll text back.
I know it is. I know he's got fiber.
Yeah. Well, what do I ask him?
How fast is our internet speed? Like, what are we paying for?
Okay, let's. I'm going to keep it right here.
All right.
We'll see. All right, last one. This is one that I don't think either of us would do, but people will share electrical outlets in common spaces, meaning if you're in an apartment or condo, the hallway outlet you'll plug in, I guess, everything from your toaster to your hairdryer, but you use the building's, right, electrical outlets versus your own to save on electricity.
If you are blow drying your hair in the hallway, I will pay for your electricity that month. I will be your financial coach.
I know, people are doing it though.
And if I was the landlord, I'd be like, hey, you can't, I'd be blocking those plugs.
I know.
I'd have like a lockbox on them because that's weird.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that. I mean, unless I was in a real terrible situation, but I feel like.
So here's the deal, George. Here's the takeaways for me. And again, this is after, when I think about it, honestly, talking to people constantly on the Ramsey show and or I get DMs from people, all of it. I think there are like hacks you can do in life that are fine, but I also think that they can be so inconvenient and not worth the money, right? Blow drying your hair in the hallway while they're possibly making a $700 car payment a month, right? Like you can make significant changes in your life.
You're not going to hack your way to financial stability.
Yep. Oh, we got an answer. What? Oh, okay.
I said 1,000 a gigabit. Fiber.
1,200 GBPS. What does that mean? Or I'm sorry, MBPS.
Yes.
What is that?
I said 1,000. He's at 1,200.
Oh, wow.
He's always trying to one-up me. First it was the Merv with the air filter. I got Merv 16, bro. And now it's...
Is that a lot?
It's very fast.
We
internet.
do have like Disney Plus.
That's what's doing it.
And like multiple accounts on TVs. Like we do have like a lot of internet
Sure.
happening.
No, that's great. That's great. That's exactly what I thought.
Was it
He's
too much?
Be
Am
at
I
least...
too bougie?
No, you didn't.
Is that
even...
a bougie thing? I
no,
don't know
you
what
thought
that
it was
means.
kilograms. I don't think anyone thinks you're bougie when it comes to internet. I think they think you're the opposite. My big takeaways. Number one, I have a lot of empathy for people who feel like the cost of living, inflation, the economy, it's all out of control and something needs to be done. That's number one. So hear me say that. Number two, I do think there's way more in our control than there is out of our control.
Yes.
When you look at debt, your lifestyle, your income, these are all things you can control to some degree. Whereas inflation, economy, the price of whatever the thing is, I don't have control of that. I have control of whether I buy it or not in some ways. Mm-hmm. Some things we have to buy that are expensive, like rent or housing. But you can get creative. You can stick to a budget. You can get out of debt, have an emergency fund, build wealth for the future, regardless of what's happening out there.
And I think too, George, part of like adulting, if you will, is, and I've learned this over the years, where I'm like, okay, you have to adjust with the times. And I think that we have like a human nature to stick to what we've always done. Well, I've always shopped at this store. I've always bought this. But we've always had this, X, Y, and Z. And when times change, you have to be able to say, and we've done this in our household, we're going to have to change and pivot to this. And so I think part of being an adult and a level of maturity is just saying, yeah, we can't live how we've lived, right? I mean, when prices go up, there is going to be a natural pull if you don't have the margin in your budget to say, okay, something else has to give, right? It is math. And so,
or we can't afford to live here anymore. That's a reality for a lot of people.
Totally, which again is yesterday. So sad. Like it's a big deal when you're uprooting your family. I mean, these are not light decisions, but at the end of the day, you're like, okay, what's going to give me peace, right? And some of those decisions have to be made, and it is really difficult. But again, looking at the big things you can change, and I think debt is a big one. I think car payments. I think when you're, I talked to a girl today on the Ramsey show, and she had, I think it was like $8,700. It was $8,700 on Klarna, which is the buy now, pay later. Yeah. And she just kept racking it up. And I was like, oh my gosh. So again, there are things that you can just make a line and say, I'm not doing that. And then you have to make other choices, right? Which gives you other options. And that's what you have to do in times like this, because it is really difficult.
So don't rely on debt. Take debt off the table. Use your own money. Figure out if you can afford to live the place you're choosing to live.
Yep.
And we had that call on the Ramsey show yesterday, and she was making $70,000 living near San Francisco. And I was like, you might need to either make more money in a different career or a better job in that field, or you need to move further out.
Yep, that's right. Totally.
So you have options, but they're not always fun.
But if you're blow drying your hair in the condo hallway,
I'll pay for your electricity.
Just comment, and George will send you his debit card information.
Okay. Rachel is more likely to do that.
All right.